A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Lunchtime News. Come to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo. I'm Florin Rajendran. Let's start off with a look at the headlines. Strike action of the water board employees concludes. Tremor reported from Kandy. Saudi Arabia's budget blowout sends petrol prices rocketing. On to your stories in detail now. Speaking in Colombo, Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne commented on the vacancies that exist in the health service.
Appointment letters for healthcare were presented at the BMICH under the auspices of Minister of Health. 82 nursing graduates and 226 public health inspectors as well as 96 midwives were appointed yesterday. A large sum to the total of 215 million rupees will be allocated for the health service. The challenge that we face is related to vacancies. We hope to take the relevant steps to address the vacancies. 2,000 nurses will be recruited and the degree that you possess will be one that will take you to the international level and will also be an advantage for you to travel abroad for employment.
Attention has now been focused on the prices of fuel after the price of a barrel of crude oil fell to $36 in the global market recently. It has also been reported that with the drop of crude oil prices in the world market, fuel prices in Saudi Arabia have been increased by 40%.
Saudi Arabia said yesterday this year's budget deficit amounted to $98 billion as lower oil prices cut into the government's main sources of revenue, prompting the kingdom to scale back spending for the coming year and hike up petrol prices. A royal decree announced that petrol prices would go up by 50% effective today. Even with that jump, Saudis will pay just 24 cents for a litre of 95-octane gasoline, less than $1 per gallon. The Saudi-based Jadwa Investment estimates the government spends around $61 billion on energy subsidies annually, almost $11 billion of that on gasoline alone. The deficit represents a sharp turnaround from just a few years ago, before oil prices tumbled in mid-2014. Instead of cutting oil production to drive up prices, Saudi Arabia has aggressively kept its production levels high, in what analysts say is an attempt to keep its market share. The government said it is anticipating $137 billion in revenue for the coming year, around $26 billion less than the total of 2015. Saudi Arabia and its Arab Gulf neighbors have been working to diversify their economies and decrease their dependence on oil, and to support the private sector to absorb the millions of young people coming into the workforce. Darshana Silva from Saudi Arabia, who contacted Newsfirst, stated that the filling stations in Saudi Arabia have been closed down since last night, subsequent to the increase in fuel prices. The prices of fuel increased since 12 midnight. This is the first price hike that has taken place under King Salman. All filling stations have been closed and this has affected everyone living here. 40% price hike has been reported.
Moving on to one of our top stories, the strike action launched by the employees of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board has been called off. The strike action was called off subsequent to the decision made to grant a full bonus to its employees as per their demands. Mahilal Silva, who is the working director of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, said that 25,000 rupees of the 37,500 rupee bonus has already been paid and the remaining 12,500 rupees will be paid during the course of the day. Co-convener of the Joint Trade Union Alliance of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, Engineer Upali Ratnayaka, said that they called off the trade union action following the positive response provided from the administration. The trade union action by the employees of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board affected the consumers as a whole. This morning, Newsfirst visited the Maliga Khanda premises of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. The general public was severely affected as there were no employees present to handle bill payments. Employees of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board in Hambantota did not engage in their duties this morning. A leak reported 3 days ago in Chilaw was repaired today. Our correspondents say that locals from a number of areas charged that there were disruptions in the water supply. Locals in the Udupila area in Mirissa faced difficulties for 3 days due to a broken pipeline. Our correspondent stated that residents of around 1,000 houses were affected. The pipeline was renovated last evening. Meanwhile, locals have charged that a lottery stall in Moratuwa is being used for illegal purposes. The lottery stall in question was located in close proximity to the National Water Supply and Drainage Board in Ratmalana. Locals say that the lottery stall was abandoned several years, and since then the stall has been used for various other malpractices.
This is connected to pickpocketing, corruption and other malpractices. We can also say that a murder can also be committed here.
The public point out that this issue should be taken into the authorities' consideration and take necessary steps to prevent abusive activities that might take place in the future.
There are unwanted stuff here in this booth, things like unwanted clothes. Many abusive activities can take place here. Things that cannot be put into words can also happen. So we request you to remove this immediately or renovate the lottery booth and bring it back to its normal state.
On to one of our headline-making news, a tremor was reported from Kandy today.
The Deputy Director of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, Dr. CHER Sirivardhana, said that the tremor was reported at around 10:17 last night from Kandy and Matale. Dr. Sirivardhana said that the tremors were measured less than 3 units on the Richter scale. The minor shocks were recorded at the seismic center in Pallekale. Locals from Kandy, Ellipola, Vevegama, Kitulmada and Maribethanne as well as surrounding villages had experienced the tremor. Professor of Geochemistry Atula Senaratna of the Faculty of Geology at the University of Peradeniya said that such tremors took place often in areas rich in water resources and that the general public need not have any fear. The Geological Survey and Mines Bureau notes that it will further study the tremors that were reported today. Geologist Mahinda Siniviratna of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau said that the epicenter of the tremors is believed to be in a 6-kilometer radius from Pallekale.
The Ministry of Transport have made plans to reduce traffic congestion on roads by developing public transport. Secretary to the Ministry S. Somavira said that traffic congestion can be reduced by travelling via trains and buses. He added that issues have arisen as the number of train carriages in operation are insufficient to meet the demand of the high number of individuals who travel via trains. The Secretary added that steps have been taken to bring down 20 locomotive engines for railway services on the up-country railway line. Meanwhile, plans are afoot to establish a car park in close proximity to the Kandy railway station in order to encourage the public to park their vehicles there and to travel to Colombo via train. Still in local news, farmers from Ibawala in Matale face severe discomfort due to the spread of Mimosa pigra, commonly known as giant sensitive tree in the area. Locals from the area point out that the spread of Mimosa pigra tree, many paddy fields have been abandoned. Mimosa pigra is placed at number 6 of 10 in the list of non-native invasive plant species in Sri Lanka. Environmentalists point out that the plant, which was introduced to Sri Lanka in the 1980s, is mainly found in areas surrounding paddy fields. 5,000 acres of paddy lands in Ibawala obtain water from the Nalanda reservoir in Matale. Locals say that 3 acres of area is covered by this invasive plant.